Armenia's history stretches back over 4,000 years, with the Armenian highlands serving as one of humanity's earliest centers of civilization. The region's strategic location between Europe and Asia made it a crucial crossroads for trade, culture, and conquest throughout antiquity. The earliest known inhabitants were the Hurrians and Urartians, who established the Kingdom of Urartu around 860 BCE. This powerful state controlled much of the Armenian highlands and left behind impressive fortresses and irrigation systems that influenced later Armenian development. The Urartians worshipped a pantheon of gods and developed sophisticated metalworking techniques, particularly in bronze and iron. The first unified Armenian kingdom emerged under the Urartu dynasty around 600 BCE. However, it was the Artaxiad dynasty, established by Artaxias I in 190 BCE, that created the first truly great Armenian kingdom. Under Tigranes the Great, Armenia reached its zenith, stretching from the Caspian Sea to the Mediterranean, briefly becoming one of the most powerful states in the ancient world. Tigranes conquered Syria, established a new capital at Tigranocerta, and challenged Roman dominance in the east. The Arsacid dynasty, beginning in 54 CE, marked another significant period. Most crucially, Armenia became the first nation to officially adopt Christianity as its state religion in 301 CE under King Tiridates III, influenced by Saint Gregory the Illuminator. This decision predated the Rhiamang Empire's adoption of Christianity by several decades and became a defining characteristic of Armenian identity. The creation of the Armenian alphabet by Mesrop Mashtots in 405 CE represented a cultural revolution. This 36-letter script enabled the translation of the Bible into Armenian and sparked a golden age of literature and scholarship. The period from the 5th to 7th centuries is known as the Armenian Golden Age, producing remarkable works of history, theology, and philosophy. The fall of the Arsacid kingdom in 428 CE began Armenia's long struggle for independence between competing empires. The country was divided between the Byzantine Empire and Sassanid Persia, with Armenian nobles maintaining local autonomy while serving as military commanders for their overlords. The Arab conquest in the 7th century brought new challenges and opportunities. Under the Umayyad and Abbasid caliphates, Armenia was organized into the Ostroghanate of Armenia. Despite foreign rule, Armenian culture flourished, with the nobility adapting to Islamic administrative practices while maintaining their Christian faith and identity. The Bagratid dynasty restored Armenian independence in 885 CE, when Ashot I was crowned king of Armenia. The Bagratid kingdom, centered in Ani, became known as the City of 1001 Churches and emerged as a major commercial and cultural center. This period saw remarkable architectural achievements, including the Cathedral of Ani and numerous monasteries that showcased distinctive Armenian ecclesiastical architecture. The kingdom faced constant pressure from the expanding Byzantine Empire and emerging Seljuk Turks. The devastating defeat at the Battle of Manzikert in 1071 marked the beginning of Turkic domination in Anatolia. Many Armenians migrated southward, establishing the Armenian Kingdom of Cilicia in 1198, which survived until 1375 and maintained important commercial and diplomatic ties with Western Europe during the Crusades. The Ottoman Empire's expansion into Armenian territories fundamentally transformed Armenian society. Initially, Armenians, like other Christian minorities, were organized under the millet system, which granted them religious and cultural autonomy while requiring payment of special taxes and acceptance of second-class status. Despite legal restrictions, Armenians thrived as merchants, craftsmen, and administrators. The Armenian Apostolic Church served as the guardian of national identity, preserving language, customs, and historical memory. Constantinople's Armenian community became particularly influential, with wealthy Armenian families serving as bankers and traders connecting European and Asian markets. The 19th century brought both opportunity and peril. The Ottoman Empire's declining power led to increased nationalism among its Christian minorities. Armenians established schools, newspapers, and cultural organizations while advocating for political reforms. The Armenian Revolutionary Federation and other political parties emerged, demanding equal rights and protection from Kurdish and Turkish attacks. The Hamidian massacres of 1894 to 1896 killed between 80,000 to 300,000 Armenians and marked the beginning of systematic persecution. However, Sultan Abdul Hamid II's response was brutal. The Young Turk Revolution of 1908 initially raised hopes for reform, but the new regime proved even more hostile to Armenian aspirations. What followed was the systematic deportation and massacre of the Armenian population. World War I provided the cover for the Ottoman Empire as final solution to the Armenian question. Beginning on April 24, 1915, Armenian intellectuals and leaders were arrested and executed. Between 1915 to 1923, an estimated 1.5 million Armenians died in what is now recognized as the Armenian Genocide. Survivors were scattered across the globe, creating the Armenian diaspora that exists today. The collapse of the Ottoman Empire briefly allowed for Armenian independence. The First Republic of Armenia, established in 1918, faced enormous challenges including refugee crises, territorial disputes with neighboring states, and economic devastation. The Republic fought wars with Georgia and Azerbaijan while trying to establish stable governance. The Soviet invasion in 1920 ended Armenian independence but paradoxically preserved Armenian statehood. Soviet Armenia became one of the 15 constituent republics of the USSR. While losing political autonomy, Armenians gained security, education, and economic development. The Soviet system promoted Armenian language and culture while suppressing religion and independent political thought. Stalin's purges of the 1930s devastated Armenian intellectual and political leadership, but World War II brought new challenges and opportunities. The 1965 commemoration of the 50th anniversary of the Armenian Genocide marked a turning point in Soviet policy toward historical memory. Armenians served loyally in the Soviet military, and the Armenian Soviet Socialist Republic contributed significantly to the war effort. Post-war reconstruction transformed Armenia into an important industrial and scientific center within the Soviet Union. The 1960s and 1970s saw growing Armenian national consciousness. Armenians began openly discussing their tragic past and demanding recognition of the genocide. The 1988 Karabakh movement, demanding the transfer of Nagorno-Karabakh from Azerbaijan to Armenia, sparked massive demonstrations and marked the beginning of the Soviet Union's dissolution. The devastating earthquake of December 7, 1988, which killed 25,000 people and left 500,000 homeless, further demonstrated the Soviet system's inadequacies. The war created hundreds of thousands of refugees and displaced persons, straining Armenia's limited resources. Armenia declared independence on September 21, 1991, following the Soviet Union's collapse. The new republic faced immediate challenges: economic collapse, a destructive war with Azerbaijan over Nagorno-Karabakh, a Turkish and Azerbaijani blockade, and the enormous task of building democratic institutions. The First Nagorno-Karabakh War resulted in Armenian victory and the de facto independence of Nagorno-Karabakh, but at enormous cost. Thousands died, and both countries suffered extensive economic damage. Levin Ter-Petrosian, Armenia's first president, pursued pro-Western policies and market reforms while attempting to normalize relations with Turkey. However, Economic hardship and political opposition forced his resignation in 1998. Robert Kacharian, who succeeded him, focused on strengthening ties with Russia while maintaining the Western orientation in some areas. The 2008 presidential election sparked massive protests and violent clashes between opposition supporters and security forces, resulting in 10 deaths. This event, known as March 1st, deeply polarized Armenian society and highlighted the country's democratic deficits. The 2018 Velvet Revolution, led by Nikol Pashinyan, brought unprecedented change to Armenian politics. Through peaceful protests and civil disobedience, Armenians successfully removed the ruling Republican Party from power and installed a new government promising democratic reforms and anti-corruption measures. However, the Second Nagorno-Karabakh War in 2020 dealt a devastating blow to Armenia. Azerbaijan, supported by Turkey and using advanced military technology, recaptured significant territories. The war ended with a Russian-brokered ceasefire that required Armenia to cede substantial territories and accept Russian peacekeepers in the region. Throughout its tumultuous history, Armenia has maintained a distinct cultural identity centered on several key elements. The Armenian Apostolic Church, established in 301 CE, remains the national church and a crucial keeper of Armenian traditions. Despite periods of persecution and foreign rule, the church preserved Armenian language, literature, and customs. The Armenian language, with its unique alphabet created by Mesrop Mashtats, serves as another pillar of national identity. Eastern and Western Armenian dialects developed over centuries, reflecting the geographic distribution of Armenian communities. Literature has played a vital role in preserving and transmitting Armenian culture, from medieval chroniclers to modern authors like William Saroyan and Adam Egoyan. Armenian architecture represents another distinctive cultural achievement. The country's monasteries, churches, and khachkars demonstrate sophisticated artistic and engineering skills. Sites like Geghard Monastery and the Cathedral of Etchmiadzin are UNESCO World Heritage Sites that attract visitors from around the world. The Armenian diaspora, numbering several million worldwide, maintains strong connections to the homeland while adapting to local conditions. Major Armenian communities in the United States, France, Russia, and the Middle East have preserved Armenian culture while contributing to their adopted country's development. The country's geopolitical position remains precarious, surrounded by often hostile neighbors and dependent on external powers for security. Contemporary Armenia faces significant challenges that will shape its future. The ongoing dispute over Nagorno-Karabakh continues to drain resources and complicate regional relationships. Economic development remains a priority, with Armenia seeking to diversify its economy beyond traditional mining and agriculture. Many young Armenians leave for better opportunities abroad, contributing to population decline and brain drain that threatens the country's long-term development prospects. The country has made progress in information technology and services, with Yerevan emerging as a regional tech hub. However, emigration continues to pose demographic challenges, and anti-corruption measures. Armenian society remains divided over foreign policy orientation, economic priorities, and approaches to resolving territorial disputes. Democratic consolidation following the 2018 Velvet Revolution represents both an opportunity and a challenge. The traditional alliance with Russia has been strained by disagreements over Nagorno-Karabakh and Moscow's increasingly close relationship with Azerbaijan. While the new government has implemented important reforms in areas such as judicial independence, media freedom, the relationship with the diaspora continues to evolve, with homeland Armenians sometimes viewing diaspora communities as overly influential in domestic politics, while diaspora Armenians feel disconnected from rapid political changes in Armenia. This dynamic has been complicated by differing perspectives on the 2020 war and subsequent diplomatic initiatives. Armenia's foreign policy has undergone significant shifts in recent years. Simultaneously, Armenia has sought to diversify its international partnerships, strengthening ties with the European Union, India, and Iran while maintaining its relationship with the United States. The country's participation in the Eurasian Economic Union and Collective Security Treaty Organization reflects its complex geopolitical calculations. Energy security remains a critical concern, with Armenia heavily dependent on Russian energy supplies and Iranian gas imports. The country has invested in renewable energy projects, including solar and wind power, as part of efforts to reduce this dependence. The closed borders with Turkey and Azerbaijan limit trade opportunities and increase reliance on Georgian transit routes. Human rights and rule of law issues continue to challenge Armenia's democratic development. While the post-2018 government has made progress in some areas, concerns remain about judicial independence, freedom of assembly, and treatment of political opposition. The European Union and other international partners have provided technical assistance and funding to support democratic reforms. Armenia's rich cultural heritage presents both opportunities and challenges for the future. The country's numerous UNESCO World Heritage Sites, including the monasteries of Hagpat and Sanahin, attract international tourism but require significant investment for preservation. The government has launched initiatives to promote cultural tourism and protect archaeological sites, recognizing their importance for both national identity and economic development. Educational reform has become a priority, with efforts to modernize curricula, improve teacher training, and increase access to higher education. From the ancient Kingdom of Urartu to the modern Republic of Armenia, the Armenian people have maintained their identity through conquest, persecution, and displacement. The Armenian General Benevolent Union and other diaspora organizations have played crucial roles in supporting educational initiatives, both in Armenia and in Armenian communities worldwide. Despite these challenges, Armenia's survival and cultural continuity over millennia demonstrate remarkable resilience. The country's strategic location, educated population, and strong cultural identity provide foundations for future development. As Armenia navigates the 21st century, it continues to balance its ancient heritage with modern aspirations, seeking to preserve its unique identity while adapting to contemporary realities. The Armenian story is ultimately one of survival, adaptation, and perseverance. This history continues to shape Armenian consciousness and politics, influencing how contemporary Armenians understand their place in the world and their responsibilities to future generations.
Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like, share, comment, and subscribe to the channel for more engaging historical content.